the woman, at one place she's called Shulamit. She's this young, beautiful shepherdess. There's her lover, who's a shepherd, whose name we never hear. There are her girlfriends, who are called the daughters of Jerusalem. And then there is a narrator who I imagine as a wise woman who is actually telling this story. So, and I have some commentary that I wrote, but we don't have to, we can look at that, but I want to also expand it way beyond my point of view. And it's interesting because I wrote this as part of my thesis in 2014. And in this short time, well, it's 2024, so it's 10 years. Wow, that went so fast. I think views of love, women, relationships have changed and expanded. And so what I wrote even then seems, just one point of view. And I want us to expand our minds and, go beyond that. So let's just start with a bracha. It's great to study Torah, or as my Baal Tshuva ultra-Orthodox nephew says, Torah, even though he's 30 years old. He says Torah. And I actually said to him once, and he's a young man who went back and became Orthodox in his early 20s, so like 10, 12 years ago. And I said, why do you say Torah? Why do you talk like you're some Ukrainian immigrant who speaks?
It's like Yiddish. They take the intonation from the Yiddish.
I know. I said, you're American. Why are you talking like that? And he said, he's very lovely. He goes, wow.
I don't know. Ask him.
I did. No, I'm telling you.
He thinks it shows that he's more Hasidic.
I asked him and he said, well, it's good to honor the generations before us and our ancestors. And so I said, do you think Rashi, who lived in France, and Maimonides, who lived in Spain and Egypt, said Torah? I don't think so. But he just smiled and he bears with me. Anyway, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ha'asot b'divrei Torah. Amen. Okay, so here we are sharing, and we sort of left off at the end of chapter 1. So I'm going to just pick up and then we're going to go into chapter 2. So Song of Songs. And somebody's coming in. Hold on, I can't. Admit. Susan Ehrlich. Okay. So when we see the italics, it's her speaking. When we see regular text, regular print, it's him speaking. So now she is talking. Okay, so let's just go back to here, where I think we did this last time, where he said, my love, you are like a mare in Pharaoh's chariots. What does that mean to you? My love, you are like a mare in Pharaoh's chariots. Then your cheekbones, those looped earrings, that string of beads at your throat, I will make you golden earrings with silver filigree. So what do you think this image of you are like a mare in Pharaoh's chariots mean? I sort of love that image. That's him talking to her. That's how he's describing her. Panina.
Doesn't seem very flattering to me.
Okay, either. Panina, what do you think?
Okay.
You're on.
Okay. I'm thinking that she herself, the one who's speaking, I think it's the Queen of Sheba.
Wait,
because
he
says, I'll tell you, well, yeah. I know she's comparing him, but
no,
the language
no. He is telling her that she is like that.
Okay, well, he's a king. So he's expressing himself in a way that the king appreciates those things, because that's what was a part of the clothing of somebody royal. That's why I'm thinking that he's trying to speak to her as an equal, because I think that the song was written by the Queen of Sheba, because she says, I am shrachoret, I am dark.
Oh, that's an interesting theory, but it's written like hundreds of years later. Because it's not.
The stories in the Agada, are saying that she made more like impression on him than the others. And we are actually attributing a whole nation that came out of there that's supposed to be Jewish. And
Yes, but
a part of,
Nina, it was written hundreds of years after the Queen of Sheba, and she says,
I know
"I'm a
that all the
shepherdess.
stuff was written after.
I'm a
But the
shepherdess."
way he says, the
She
way she
says, "I'm a
says,
shepherdess." She says she's a shepherdess.
well,
She says
because she's trying to compare herself to the rest of the people there in that's the culture of the whole thing at the time.
all right,
She's
well,
like what she wants to say, it's like I'm one of you.
okay. Any
That's
other?
my take of it.
Okay, that's possible that you thinking of her as the Queen of Sheba. That's interesting. Any other idea, Rebecca?
So I just learned this recently, and I'm going to tie it into this verse. All of the police horses in Santa Monica are male. And I asked why, and they said because the males and the females don't mesh very well in those types of situations. So I'm thinking maybe the same thing happened with the chariots, that they were mostly male horses, but at sometimes maybe they had to bring in the female horse to balance out the pull of the chariot. So here she is, the one female surrounded by all of these males.
And if you take that further, she probably had to be an extraordinary female horse. So, okay, that's interesting. Any other ideas of why he would compare her to a mare, a beautiful mare and a king's chariot? I would imagine that they would be physically incredible specimens, beautiful specimens with glossy hair, glossy manes, you know what I mean? Right. Beautiful shaped legs, and probably very regal or royal looking as a horse,
yes.
Very thoroughbred, a real thoroughbred is what my idea is. And then also in that respect, you're like that, but you're also so beautiful with your necklace and your earrings.
That's
Susan.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I didn't get that at all. I got the opposite, because first of all, when I think thoroughbred, I think of a male horse, right? A race horse that could be beautiful. Could a mare be beautiful? It just seems like you're a mare. I think of it as sort of just a workhorse that is important to me, right?
So that image doesn't work for you. That image doesn't.
I mean, the jewels and all of that, it softened it. But the first thing, you're like a horse to me.
Okay. Yeah. Susan.
I agree with Leslie. That's a first, like a horse, but I thought of it as a sexual image, pure sex, because they talk like dogs in heat, and I thought this was purely sexual. And I agree with Leslie. I didn't see it as a thoroughbred. It was a mare. It's like a mare is for propagating.
All right, that's interesting. Okay,
I was thinking of the jewelry thing, where maybe he made the comment about the jewelry, but then he said he's going to make her filigree, like
he's going to give her even more.
He's going to make her something more than she already is.
And also, there's a saying in the Talmud that a husband should adorn his wife with beautiful clothing and jewelry because she represents the Shekhinah. And so there's this interesting idea of adorning. There's always echoes of everything everywhere, which is what I love about Judaism and Jewish texts. Okay, let's continue. So, and then I'm going to skip the commentary and go to her. This is her response. So Leslie, why don't you read? She calls him her king. Go ahead, read what the italics say.
My king lay down beside me, and my fragrance wakened the night. All night between my breasts, my love is a cluster of myrrh, a sheaf of henna blossoms in the vineyards of En-Gedi.
Okay, so what does that evoke to you? I mean, I'm going to leave it so you can look at it again.
Oh, that they had wild sex.
They had wild sex, and they smell really good.
To each other, the hormones, all that.
His smell is a cluster of myrrh. Myrrh is one of the ingredients of perfume, and henna blossoms. And I said, this was my commentary. As they are about to part, they embrace passionately. She remembers their night of love where they were intertwined in each other's arms. She recalls the sweet scent of sex as they made love all night. So she is comparing the sexual smell of the sweat and the semen and whatever to myrrh and henna blossoms. And so that's how she describes it. Oops, sorry. And then
What,
mean,
did
she
you say
clearly-
this before? Where's Engedi? What
I'm
is
sorry, what?
Engedi? You have, it's underlined.
It's
What
in
No,
is
Israel.
it?
that's not underlined. That's like, them saying this is not a word they recognize in the text.
Right, but what is,
But
where?
there is a place
En
like this
Gedi
in
is-
Israel.
Nina, where's En Gedi?
En Gedi. I don't know exactly where, but the way she describes the vineyards later on, Rothschild decided that Rishon LeZion and Zichron Yaakov will be the best place to raise
Yeah, but in the
grapes.
ancient world,
So I
En
don't
Gedi,
know. That's what
it's a kibbutz. It's a place in Israel that obviously.
Isn't it between like Jerusalem and God, now I can't think of the
Okay,
city.
I'm looking
that's
up.
where it is today. So she's talking En Gedi, which area was best for where they raise vineyards, where they have vineyards.
En Gedi,
I have to look it
Israel.
up. I'm gonna look it up. I don't know.
En Gedi is a kibbutz on the western shore of the Dead Sea.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm just
But
saying.
in any event, she thoroughly enjoyed herself.
Yes. And then he says to her, this is a back and forth. This is the first chapter of 7, and they're like, and he says to her, what, Leslie? Just read this.
And you, my beloved, how beautiful you are. Your eyes are as doves, which is interesting because that's not like so much as a sexual reference.
No, what is dove? What does dove, dove-like, and let's just finish the chapter. Here's the finish. Just finish this.
He also recalls their amazing night and drinks in her beauty one last time before he tears himself away.
Okay, and then I'm not gonna. Let's not read the commentary. Just read the text here. 2 more.
I think it's also
Wait. Let's just finish. Then we'll comment.
You
One
are
second.
beautiful, my
Okay.
king, and gentle. Wherever we lie, our bed is green. Our roof beams are cedar, our rafters fir.
Fir meaning, like fir tree.
Wood.
Wow. So what does that mean? Oh, so beautiful. 2 things. What does it mean to have eyes like doves? Do you think? What is he saying about her?
Well, doves are notable for peace and sweetness.
Right.
So, but Yonah also, didn't that Yonah mean dove? So
yes.
so it's not totally flattering.
Well, I wouldn't talk. I don't think we can think of the name Jonah and compare it here, but a dove, first of all, there's something very soft about doves' eyes.
Right.
They're soft, they're kind, they're not piercing. Think of like an eagle's eyes or an owl's eyes, and then think of a
Right.
dove's eyes. So your eyes are gentle, they're soft, they're sweet, they're approachable, and this is very appealing to him. And then she says, everywhere we go, our bed is green. So what does that mean to you? Our bed is green.
Green is a beautiful color. It's green and blue are soothing colors.
Okay.
And green is also vegetation, like we see in the backyard.
So I'm thinking like, yeah, soft bed of grass or
And also,
not
what
just
else?
like straw or something, you know?
And what does green pastures evoke?
Fertile.
Fertile, fertility. So our bed is green, it's soft, it's lush, and it's filled with fertility. This is so beautiful. Your eyes are like, she says, he's so handsome, you're so handsome. He says, your eyes are like doves, and our bed is green. And, being with you, this is like such a beautiful love story. And again, like the rabbis couldn't, exclude it. So they kept saying, oh, this is really a metaphor between God and the Jewish people. No way, in my opinion, is this anything but an unbelievable poet. Just imagine saying any one line of this to someone you love, and somebody saying this to you. What emotions? And we're going to talk about our emotions in a minute. So let's go a little
I don't think it's godlike at all. And I mean, I
Well,
think it's
no.
very human.
Very human. Okay, so she said, and she says, "You're gentle. You are beautiful, my king." She's telling him, "You are beautiful and gentle." And wherever I think that's so beautiful to call a man beautiful and gentle. Wow. Who does that? So now, step 2. So it starts with her, and she is now, I imagine that it's like the next day, or the later that day, after the glow of love, you have to go into your real world, and you're still like feeling a high. Your pheromones, your hormones, everything is still in that place. So, okay, Lori, why don't you read?
I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys.
Okay, read my little thing here. I'll read it because it's very small. Imagine these verses are about you after your night of love. You can't stop thinking about him. You are distracted. You can't work. You can't concentrate on anything but him. You are in love and feel beautiful and on top of the world. She's like, this is, I see these poems as kind of a narrative or a story that, progresses. So this is like the next day after they have parted. And he's thinking about her. So what is he saying?
Like a lily in a field of thistles, so is my love among the young women.
So what does that mean, people? What does that mean? Like a lily in a field of thistles, so is my love among the young women.
Well, so it's kind of like a rose without a thorn, right? So
well, in a field of thistles, she's the lily. All the other women are thistles.
The other ones are whatever.
My love is like a flower among all these other thistles. She's so magnificent.
She's the only one.
Yes, guess what? He is thinking about you too. Men also have hopes and dreams about love. Remember that. Okay, so now it's back to her, Lori.
As an apple tree among the trees of the wood, so is my beloved among the other young men. With great delight, I sat in his shade, and his fruit was sweet in my mouth.
Okay, so what do you think that means?
Okay.
She's talking about him now. This is her.
So she sees him as, better than any of the young men around her, and finds him delightful. And
his fruit was sweet to my mouth. So I wrote, being a woman, you have to share your happiness with your girlfriends. You have met them for coffee and telling them about your lover. You share details about sex and intimacy. His fruit was sweet to your mouth. Is this an allusion to oral sex?
That's what I thought, yeah.
You did think that?
Yeah.
Now, the message is that there is no shame in oral sex, and we are permitted to take delight in it. We are free to enjoy all aspects of love making and not hesitant to say so. So
well, I think that's almost the broader issue. It's not just, the oral sex. It's you can really enjoy sex. It's okay to feel good, to enjoy your lover, to have him enjoy you. That's a good thing.
Yes, and that's why this Song of Songs stands out in the Bible as there's no shame, there's no pretensions of modesty or shyness or whatever. It's just it is sexual, but it's so beautiful at the same time, the way it's expressed, which is so unique. This book is so unique in that respect.
So can I ask a question? What has happened to the world? I don't think that there's a lot of people these days, and maybe not Jewish people, well, who knows, who would say, oh, no, you're not supposed to enjoy it. But, what about the whole thing with the sheet with the hole in it,
That's a myth. That's a
But I mean, but a lot of Christians, like, they don't talk about it. Of course, a lot of people are hypocrites. Look at the people in Florida. But what has happened where some really enjoying yourself in sex, especially as a woman, has become kind of shameful?
Anybody want to reflect on that? Anybody want to respond to that? Your thoughts about it? Okay, Panina.
All right. I think that still we're talking here about somebody who is unique. First of all, he had 1,000 women. So it is kind of like saying that she
not
is very.
accepting that this is written by Solomon. I don't think
Okay,
it was.
fine. So, okay, so it says here, "Shir Hashirim Asher LeShlomo."
I know,
So
but
I'm coming from the point that the fact that he's trying to constantly talk about peaceful, having 1,000 wives, and she could be taking care of herself and him without being mean or bitter or complaining, and she's very elegant and she carries herself like a princess. It gives you all the signs of the character of this person, especially
right.
the part about the peace. And because like I said, he had 1,000 wives, so you have to really, and the way he describes even the clothing and everything, she's not like the others, that's for sure. Otherwise he wouldn't write this book for her.
Didn't
And I'm still saying
write
that
it.
women at the time were, before Judaism and all this idea of respect your father and your mother too, that women were used for purpose of all kind of rituals to the gods. And here he is making her very valuable. So again, I think that the book also comes to show you that the woman is supposed to have a different role and different respect than what they were getting when they walked the idols, when they used to worship the idols and sacrifice women and use them sexually as a part of the whole ritual. So it wasn't very gentle and thinking and loving. So I think that the book has here a purpose of really bringing the role of a wife or a woman to a different level than what they used to, the way they used to treat other women, or all the ones that were used in the temples.
Okay, I think that's a possibility. And also, I think that in very ancient feminist-based religions, there was much more of a respect and acceptance and even value to women's sexuality and sensuality. Pre-Judaism, pre-Christianity, there was this idea of, but this was probably written, they say, like 300 BCE. So that was when ancient Israel was interacting with Greek culture as well.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Go ahead, Abby. What were you?
Well, I was going to say that. Well, that's what happened during the Greek culture. There was a lot of hedonism, and many of the Jews were they liked the Greek. They were into what they wore, into makeup, into all kinds of things. So women were, like sex and everything, that was all addressed. And that was the Jews that were not as religious. And this is when the Maccabees were the religious ones at that time, during the
Well, it was 150 years later, but yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at ancient Greek culture, because I'm not an expert, but I read about wives and daughters were kept at home and cloistered just like everywhere else. But courtesans who were educated and intermingled with the men, but they were like in a different class, sort of scorned by the mothers and wives, respected by the men, but they also slept with them. But I don't think Jewish Israelite women were courtesans. I think this is a unique person who, I think it was a woman, who had passion, who saw what could be, or had this unique relationship and was an incredible writer. Or I sometimes think this was a woman who experienced this in her youth and now understood the beauty of love. It's a very unique expression of, because it's not wanton, it's not promiscuous, it's really just between these two people, and they end up getting married, and having a child. But the love of this young love is a celebration of a kind of relationship that is so rare in any society, I think. And the fact that it's in the Hebrew Bible is unbelievable. And Leslie, you'll find this interesting. In the Orthodox translation, it's the I can't remember which one it is. They completely just translate it as metaphor. They don't translate it properly at all. It's all about God and Israel and everything else. It's completely mistranslated. It's shocking. And you would look at it and you'd say, that's not what it says in Hebrew at all. But that's how they've translated it. They won't even translate it literally because it's just so erotic. So that's why it makes it so unique. And
is that so bad though? I mean, is
what's so bad?
That the eroticism, if you're Orthodox?
Obviously, it's very challenging. It's very threatening. Daughters and children are property and barter and all this stuff. So,
but it's also premarital sex.
Exactly. It's premarital.
It's true.
And in the rest of the Torah, this is not allowed at all. So this is just a unique book. But why did they keep it? It must have been so popular, so beloved, so important, so well known, so something that they just couldn't suppress it. So let's just go on because it's so great.
I just want to say something. I think I agree with Cindy. I see it with Cindy. This is premarital, but I should also say that the Orthodox are very much for sex, and they celebrate
within marriage.
But what's so bad about that?
No, within marriage and with, not when you're having your period and only certain times and blah, blah. No, Judaism actually is, in the Middle Ages and even earlier, strict Christians thought Jews were sex maniacs. They were obsessed with sex because we do support sexual relations within marriage. And it's even in the Talmud, it talks about how I love this. How many times a week or a month a husband should have sex with his wife, depending on his profession. And like if you're a scholar and you're at home, it's like every day, I think. And if you're like a merchant, it's like once every 2 weeks because you're not home. All this stuff.
Wow.
But they very much support sexuality within marriage. What makes Song of Songs so but they never talk about it this way anywhere else. They never have this language. Your breasts, your thighs, the fruit in my mouth. I mean, come on, it's pretty amazing. Who had their hand up? Somebody. Who? Cindy.
In some religions, sex is for procreation only, not for enjoyment.
That's right. That's right. And here it's not even for procreation. Susan, do you have your hand up?
She really enjoyed it.
Because you're disappeared. So I don't know if you had your hands up. Okay. All right, let's continue. Let's share screen.
I'm sorry I was late, Susan. I have doctors working on my hip problem. So
we're happy to have you at any time.
I'm sorry I missed whatever I missed. Apologies.
Oh, you missed a lot of sex.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Connect me.
All right. Okay. Abby, why don't you read? Now he has brought me.
Okay. Now he has brought me to the house of wine, and his banner over me is love. Sustain me with raisin cake, refresh me with apples. I am in the fever of love. You feel that he has claimed you for his own, and you are drunk with love. Suddenly you are hungry. Being in love has made you ravenous, and you want cakes and fruit. Today all your senses are alive, and you want to feed them.
So I see this, but now he has brought me to the house of wine means he's made me drunk. He's made me drunk with emotion, and his banner is over me. What do you think that means? Now he's brought me.
Banner. What does banner mean?
A banner is like he's claimed her.
Mm-hmm.
Like you stake your claim with a banner, a flag.
Oh, I see what you say. Okay.
So I think it's like his banner over me is love. Like his claim for me is love. I am his because I'm drunk with it and I am his and I'm hungry. Give me some cake and apples. I am in the fever of love. So she's like having all her appetites awakened. Yes, go ahead.
It's interesting they keep using apples all the time.
I know, you're right. Do
you think it has to do with the going back to the Garden of Eden? Do you think it?
Well, it's interesting you say that because if you actually look at the text, it never says apple. We get that from
Oh,
Michelangelo's painting. It just says fruit.
oh,
It
okay.
never says apple, but apple is red and firm and beautiful. And I don't know, maybe apples were,
Maybe it's fertility because, like an apple, the way it's sort of, what I don't know.
maybe yes, Nina.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Apples were not growing in Israel till way after even Independence Day. They were brought to Israel from Italy. It's European fruit. It was never grown in Israel before. When I saw an apple the first time, I was maybe 10. They were very scarce in Israel. So he's talking again about something foreign that's not there all the time. It's something special.
Special,
So-
rare, precious,
Exactly. And yeah.
prize. Oh,
So that's why, and also apples have a fragrance. Yeah, you know,
Yes.
it's a certain. So that's why I'm thinking again that he's going to somebody, he's talking to someone or about someone, or she's putting her input into it, somebody who is not like the others.
That's
It's
rare,
something-
rare and precious.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. Abby, continue. Right. Okay. So continue. She's saying,
Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure I'm not muted. Let his left hand be under my head and his right hand embrace me. Just talking about him makes you want to see him again. You wish you were back in
that he
bed with
did
him
when
right
he
now.
built the temple, but they're not really talking about the women. So
okay,
that's my
now
take
let's
on
wait.
it.
Let's wait. Let's wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue. I mean, that's your
That's
interpretation.
like my take on it, that she's not
Okay.
like the others.
Okay. Now, this to me is okay. So this, I'm going to read this. Daughters of Jerusalem, swear by me by the gazelles, by the deer of the field, that you will never awaken love until it is right. So I wrote, and we can now discuss this. I believe that this verse is not part of the preceding conversation, but the voice of the author of Song of Songs, the wise woman of experience. She is interrupting this idol to warn all of us, we, daughters of Jerusalem, that love is complex and complicated, and that it takes commitment and hard work to create a deep and lasting relationship. Yes, right now everything is perfect, but there will be problems. There always are, and you must be mature and grown up enough to handle them. Real love which includes sex, intimacy, trust, respect, and fidelity, is for a woman, not a girl. So again, she says, daughters of Jerusalem, swear to me by the gazelles, by the deer of the field, that you will never awaken love until it is right. So what do you think that means, until it is right? Merle.
That you need to be mature.
Or you need to
To
be
understand, you need to, well, ripeness being maturity in order to understand everything that comes with love.
right. Don't try when you're a girl, you have to be an older girl in those times. I don't know, 18.
Or
But
Yeah, to not give in to just pure lust.
don't give in to pure lust. Don't awaken it until it is right. It also could be, I'm reflecting now because it's 10 years ago. It could be also the voice of our shepherdess saying, I'm telling you, you need to wait. I waited, and I don't rush into things, but because when the right person comes along, that's when it's going to really work out. And so also, I'm thinking now, even though I thought that then, it could be her voice as well speaking to her friends. Merle, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, the experience for her, if she was too young, she's now trying to explain what would be a better experience as you're more mature.
Or she waited.
Right. Either way.
She didn't do it. She's old enough. She's 19. She's 18. And she says, I'm telling you, if you wait until you're really ready, it's unbelievable.
Or maybe she didn't wait and she had a prior experience not as good, and all of a sudden, oh my goodness.
That's
This is what it's
possible
supposed to be.
too. Possible too. But I realize it could be her talking to them, her girlfriends, from her experience. I waited. There are certainly, it's like, when are you going to lose your virginity, blah, blah, blah. And some people just say, oh my God, I'm 17, 18, I have to lose my virginity. And they just do it. And other people wait till they're in love and it's really meaningful and it's a completely different experience. So maybe what she's saying is wait till you're right. Wait till the whole relationship is ready and you will have this amazing beauty that I just had. That's another possibility of the message of the text. Does anybody have any other thing they want to share? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so, okay, Merle, go ahead. The voice of my love. You're muted.
Sorry. The voice of my love, listen, bounding over the mountains towards me, leaping across the hills. My love is a gazelle, a wild stag. There he stands on the other side of our wall, looking through the windows, peering through the lattice.
Okay.
Hopefully,
let's keep going.
Oh, okay. My beloved calls to me, get up, my darling, my beauty, and come away.
Okay, so what's happening? What's happening? I don't want to use my interpretation. I want your interpretation. Says she suddenly hears her voice, hears his voice. He's looking through the window. He's come over. He's come back. Maybe it's later. Time has passed. And he says, get up, my love, come away. So, and she says, he's leaping like a stag toward me. So what do you think's going on? What do you think's going on? Come on.
He sees her and he wants her, and he doesn't
He
want
comes back. He's running back to see her, and he says, knocks on the window. Come out, my darling girl. Come out, my love. Let's, come out to me. So she's been thinking of him all day. He's been thinking of her all day, and now he's come back. So It wasn't a one-night stand. It was something something deeper.
He was very anxious.
There's a lot of thought there between them.
Yes. So he's peering through her and he says, get up, my darling, my beauty. Look at the way he talks to her. Get up, my darling, my beauty, and come away. I love the way it's kumi lach rayati yafati. In Hebrew, rayati also, that's right here, this word in Hebrew, doesn't only mean my darling. It means my dear friend, my close beloved friend. And the word raya is used a lot in this poem, describing her, describing him. There's a friendship there. There's beyond a lust and a sexual thing. It's rayati also means my, and when in the Torah, when it says love your neighbor as yourself, it's v'ahavta l'reacha, the same word, meaning your neighbor, your friend, your valued human being. So he's calling her that and saying, come away. Okay, and then continue. Who was reading? Merle, were you reading?
Where am I? Look, the winter is over and the rains are done. Wildflowers spring up in the fields. The time of singing has come. The voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land.
That's a famous expression. The voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. Continue, one more.
The fig tree has sweetened its new green fruit, and the young budded vines give off their fragrance. Hurry, my beautiful darling, my love, and come away.
Okay, so what's the value of describing this beautiful, lush nature? What does that say to you?
That the nature, the love of the nature, the beautiful nature will make your experience more beautiful.
And also,
okay.
Maybe.
Abby, there's no wrong.
And in spring, how the flowers come up and everything is so beautiful, and it's sort of a time when, like, they're growing love, it's just beautiful, and a time of fertility, and
right. So it's like nature is mirroring them. Okay, Susan and then Lori. Susan. I love this. I think it's so beautiful. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say that spring is the time of fertility. And we have Passover in the spring and we celebrate fertility with the egg. I guess it could be for other things and a woman's fertility. I see this as, well, obviously sexual, but as also fertile and reproductive.
Reproductive. Okay.
I
Laura.
also think spring is a time of hope, happiness, rebirth in all ways. Like, we're going to start over. We're going to have this wonderful relationship. We sort of found each other.
Lori.
I was just thinking of spring as an awakening, so that the whole world sort of wakes again after a cold winter, and what's happening with their love is that it's awakening in them the possibilities for their future.
All of it. And I think it's interesting in the pagan world. And I'm sure even at this time there were pagan beliefs all around them. This idea that nature, we're in sync with nature, that nature mimics or we mimic what's going on in nature. And also, this is the time, in Christianity of Easter, like the resurrection, everything is being resurrected and coming out. I mean, in all the ancient religions, there was this idea of the God that died and then the God that came in spring, in the spring equinox and everything. And so there's also, doesn't this make you imagine this countryside was so beautiful and lush and like, wow. I mean, and Israel or Judea or Canaan or whatever it's called is surrounded in a lot of places by desert and barren things. And it's this beautiful, lush, fertile little country, little land. And it's sort of celebrating all growth and beauty and nature and spring. But you start feeling, oh my God, there's figs, there's turtle doves, there's lilies, there's, every beautiful sheep. And it's just feels like the most, you said it, I kind of feel emotionally fertilized by reading the language myself. I don't know if you feel that idea. I kind of, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're being filled up with these beautiful images. Okay, let's continue. Wait, did I say share you? Share. Okay. So there, he's saying it's like they feel the land and the young lovers are in harmony, affirming the human nature is an extension of Mother Nature, and true love blossoms like the flowers, trees, fields, and vineyards. And so they're going to go away together. Okay, so now it's him. So, okay, Cindy, why don't you read?
O my dove, in the cleft of the rock, in the hiding place of the cliff, let me see what you look like. Let me hear your voice, for your voice is delightful and you look so beautiful. Do we have any idea how old she is?
No, but what would you imagine?
Late teens?
That's what I imagine too. I imagine late teens, like 17 or 18. I'm imagining myself. Okay, so why don't you read my understanding and we can change that. Their intimacy
has grown. Their intimacy has grown, and he feels free to express himself verbally while in the throes of ecstasy. He wants to know her totally, to see her cleft, to hear her sounds of pleasure, to study her body, all of which are delightful to him.
So it's like the cleft in the rock, the hiding place of the cliff. To me, that's the vagina.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I see it as. He says, and let me see what you look like, and let me hear your voice while we're making love. Continue, Cindy.
We learn from this not to be self-conscious or embarrassed by our bodies, our desires, or our most intimate parts. Sexual pleasure is natural and beautiful and an essential part
of life.
Yeah,
it's small, sorry. So that's really interesting that here he's talking to her. Let me see you, let me know you, let me feel you, in their relationship. Okay, so now.
Did you notice the relationship between, this is totally off the wall, but when was the last time we heard that? With hiding in the cleft of the rock. Let me see what you look like. Let me see your face. And
With God and Moses.
What?
With God and Moses, you're talking about? He wants to
I'm
see.
talking about Moses and God.
Yeah, I just said with God and Moses, right?
With God and Moses, right.
I'm sure that the rabbis, when interpreting this verse, said that's what this refers to.
Yes.
They would say, oh, this refers to that, because they were able to connect every single verse to something in the Torah or something, in the teachings in the Bible and other places. I mean, I'm sure you're right, because we feel that right away. Okay, Cindy. Now this is interesting. I'm curious what you all think.
Catch the foxes for us, the little foxes that destroy vineyards, for our vineyards are in blossom.
Okay, so read what I thought, and then we can.
What are these little foxes? Again, the voice of the author offers us her wisdom. The foxes are the negative thoughts and actions that destroy our vineyards of happiness and love. The text here is teaching us not to use love for negative means such as control, jealousy, or nagging. This verse is placed in the middle of beautiful love poetry to instruct a woman to remember the beautiful times when she feels angry or resentful. When the little destructive
foxes
appear, hearken back to that night. When the little destructive foxes appear, hearken back to that night when he called you his beautiful dove, his darling, his beauty. Then catch those foxes and lock them up.
So that was my understanding of it, that catch the foxes for us, the little foxes that destroy the vineyards, that for our vineyards are in blossom. So what does anybody else think about what that could possibly mean? Lori?
Any negativity that could come from other people about their relationship, to not let that interfere with what they know to be their true love.
Beautiful, like judgment or criticism or whatever. Okay. Penina, you're muted.
Okay. I think that this part was added after the story of Samson. Because when Samson got mad, when he gave his wife to somebody else, he took a bunch of foxes and he tied the fire and he burnt all the, and still then we never heard of that story of foxes have any kind of part in anything that had to do with anything. And all of a sudden now, this part, מחבלים is somebody who destroys. שועלים קטנים, מחבלים כרמים. There is a song about it too.
Why do you
and that was definitely written after what happened with Samson, which was the era of the judges way later on.
Way earlier. But why do you think?
No, the judges came after, I think.
No, way before.
No, yeah, before. What?
Way before.
Yeah.
Okay, so why put it in the middle of these verses? Why put it here?
Because he's comparing it. It's time of peace now. He doesn't have to deal with daughters of other kings that are cheating him out of the promises. He got her in peace. Everything was good. There was no need to burn any kramim, any vineyards. So that's why he's mentioning it, because of what happened with Samson. Because that's a song that's very, very familiar with what happened with Samson.
Okay, Susan.
I'm not sure it was the foxes with Samson. It was more the lion and the honeybee. But in any event, I like your interpretation. The negative things. Do you see the movie The Little Foxes with Betty Davis?
Yeah.
And it was the negative thoughts that she brought.
All the destruction that she brought.
Yeah.
But the way he said that, מחבלים כרמים, specifically to the vineyards, that definitely a Samson thing.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm sure the Midrash would say, oh, this one's referring to Samson. You can see how they sometimes could find very similar parallels. I think, but this is a famous expression also from Song and Songs about the little foxes and how and foxes, as we know, they chew up things, they destroy things, whether they're with fire or not, they are destructive animals in a vineyard, in a field, and whatever. So
Yes,
don't let
yes,
those
yes.
foxes, which I think is a metaphor also, destroy what's happening with your love. And I like what Lori said, but not only being, that not in your head, but also in other people's head. Abby.
Yeah, and also they're sort of small and can just sort of get in. So don't let those small little things get in the way of our love,
Exactly. And I always say too, when I do a wedding, now, today ketubas are like not the same as they were. Most modern ketubas are like commitments of I promise to be your best friend and love you and blah, blah, blah. And I always say to wedding couples, frame it, put it on your wall. And when you're having an argument or you're upset with each other, go and read your ketubah and remember what you said on that day. So I'm suggesting here that when the little foxes come in, don't forget all of the beauty and all the love that you shared already and put it in perspective, and don't let it destroy what you have. Anybody else want to say anything?
Okay. It also shows territorial. That something is territorial there. That's why I'm thinking that she's a princess from,
possibly.
from.
Okay, let's continue.
Yep.
So share. And then, so who is reading?
I was.
Who was reading? Cindy.
Cindy, yeah.
Okay, here is the most famous of all. One of the most famous. Go ahead.
My beloved is mine, and I am his, who graces among the lilies. Grazes.
So that is like a very famous song. It's very beautiful. Odili va'anilo is often put in wedding rings, inscribed in wedding rings between couples. And why don't you read what it says about it, what I wrote.
This is one of the most famous verses in Song of Songs and expresses one of the keys to a successful relationship, reciprocity and putting each other first. He is yours, so he must be faithful, loving, caring, and nurturing. But you are his, which means you must be the same. This is not about being possessive or controlling, but about cherishing and honoring each other. When you are each focused on making your partner happy, life is a bed of roses, or in this case, lilies.
Okay. So, Penina, why don't you read? Before the day breathes.
Before the day breathed, before my computer didn't catch the bottom of it.
How's that?
Hello?
Yeah, can you see more now or no?
No, I only see the one verse, before the day breathes.
Oh, I've been putting it higher. Does that help?
A lot higher. This is only, it's
only
higher. One line at the bottom. There we go. Before the day breathes, before the shadows of night are gone, run away, my love, be like a gazelle, a wild stag on mountains of spices.
Wow.
Definitely somebody from Africa, because all the people that were fighting in Israel were on the way to Egypt for the spices and the richness of Africa. When he talks about horses were not known in Israel till they were called Arabic, right? An Arabian horse, because they were brought from Africa. We knew of donkeys.
There's no horse. This is gazelle.
Donkeys, camels, but not horses. Horses are always mentioned.
Gazelle is a deer. We're looking at deer.
We're talking about
young deer.
Gazelles, and we're talking about stags.
They have spent the entire night making love, and it's time for him to leave. She begs him to leave quickly before she changes her mind and begs him to stay. Go. His lingering scent, a stag on mountains of spices, and the memory of his beautiful, powerful body will sustain her until she sees him again.
Wow.
So that is the end. Yeah, right?
Yep. That
is the end of the
that was beautiful.
He's talking about definitely an African queen.
Very racy, but beautiful.
Very beautiful. I know, right? No, how many people get to study Song of Songs? Usually, no, it's always skipped, or you don't really look at it. And when I read it, I just like, oh my God, this is so. It's so beautiful, and the imagery, like she's saying, be like a you're like, she's like this mare, which I think can be a beautiful thing, but he said many other things.
Yeah,
He said
again,
stag. They're
Yeah.
magnificent in their
rarity, a lot of
rarity and magnificent in their physicality, in their taste, in
Yes.
their smell, in their look, in their touch. They are magnificent, and they cherish each other and are just sublime together. So it's perfect. It's going to be 1 o'clock. And if I don't know if we're going to have it anymore in our lives, but I hope we all have had that in our lives at some time because it's really beautiful. And I want to wish you a lovely, I'll see you. Yeah. Well, when will I see you? Will it be the new year? Yeah. I think
January 3rd.
January 3rd. So I want to wish you all a happy a healthy, this is what I'm saying to people, safe, peaceful 2024.
Amen.
Amen. Susan, you didn't get
Amen.
You too.
Susan, you didn't get
Everybody.
COVID. You said
I did not get COVID.
Yes.
Oh yeah. You know, we had.
I just got over it.
Did anybody get it? Did you
I
got
just
it?
got over it.
No.
Nobody that I know of. And the
No,
person
Laura
sitting
did.
next to Stan didn't get it.
We
I
were
got it in September.
I
Laura,
did.
Lori, but no,
I-
but last Wednesday, Wednesday the 20th.
Oh, at a thing. Oh, sorry.
On the
We were
13th.
The 13th, we were with 40 people. Rabbi Stanley Davids was walking around schmoozing to everybody. Me, I talked to him for 10 minutes face to face. The next day he got COVID. So we're
Oh
all
my
waiting
God.
to see if
I
we
heard
got
that he had COVID. Yeah, I heard that about, is he okay
We
now?
didn't get it. So
He has it now?
he's probably over it by now.
Because he was
Laura, you
really
had
sick.
Because he was fine on when we had our current events there. Yeah.
But he was
Yeah.
really sick with COVID when at the beginning of the
Oh
pandemic.
yeah, he was in the hospital the
This
first
is his
Oh, that
third
was the
time.
first time. They were both in the
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah, but he was coughing all during Torah study on Saturday.
Yeah.
but he was still teaching it.
Oh, yeah. And he probably collapsed after, but he did it.
And Risa was wearing a mask in the
Oh.
other room of the house.
All right, I'm meeting the cantor at Lunetta, so I'm going
I'm
now.
glad you didn't get it,
Okay.
but Laura got it.
Okay, have a
everybody.
good lunch. Say
Say
hello
hi
for
for
us.
all of us.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New
Bye,
Year.
everybody.
Happy New Year to everybody.
You too.
I got it.